when it comes to creativity and the healthy things that have been happening, what do you think is unhealthy maybe that's been happening in the industry like the last couple of years, or what's trending to not maybe elevate for the future?
Everyone's looking at me, so I'll go
Somebody's
first.
going to say AI.
I thought that was going to be Susan's.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I've seen, and I could be completely wrong, but it's really sad to see when when the pandemic happened, everyone sort of worked from home and creativity took a backseat for a moment. Do you remember that year where it was like, it wasn't about pushing work, it was about keeping business?
Yes, surviving.
And there was a moment where it was like, oh, shit, all your hopes and dreams and creative aspirations sort of, put those aside. We just like operation, make sure we don't lose business, lose teams, all that stuff. So that was a really dark period, and I think rightfully so, award shows sort of went cold, and that was the right thing to do. The problem with that now, I'm finding, is that the after effect is that a lot of business people have taken control of agencies and taken control of creative agencies who should be more creative. And I feel like the finance department, business leads, CEOs are sort of creeping into the realm and sort of stifling creativity. So I would love to see a world post-pandemic where we go back to real creative leaders running agencies. I listened to a podcast the other day with Sir John Hegarty. I mean, what a god. And funnily enough, they asked him when Sir Martin Sorrell, left WPP. They said to him, can you give us a few comments about Sir Martin Sorrell's legacy? And he laughed. He said, he doesn't fucking have a legacy. He's not a creative. And they were like, what do you mean? He's Martin Sorrell. He built this big business. They were like, no, he's a businessman. There's a creative industry like that. He is not a visionary. He's not a Bill Bernbach, Doyle Day. He's not a Charles Saatchi, Maurice. Those are the people that are shaping the industry. And I feel like we're at this point where, and this is a very long answer, so sorry. But we're at a point where we need to start seeing more creative people in the decision rooms of big agencies, big networks, and hopefully it changes and we start to see that come more and more to the front.
I think that does happen, and it's starting to happen because it has to. I think so.
Finance people taking over, or
because of that like shift during everyone working at home and keep the business and keep it steady and all that stuff. That's fine, and that was probably right. But then the only way out of that to grow things is creativity. That's the only thing that changes anything is how to progress and stuff. So I do think although that probably did happen to a lot of places, it's shifting for sure, and it's changing again.
So maybe the balance has to get a little bit healthier than what it used to be.
It's and just one more thought, because it's interesting. So Rob Riley, WPP Global CCO, who's a legend, he's summed it up really simply. He said there's only two things in any agency, and it's profit and product. Creativity is the product, right? That should be the focus. Profit is secondary always, and I think that's a sort of shift that some agencies need to just sort of realign themselves post-pandemic.
Yeah, and talking about Rob, learning from him from McCann, there is this quote which I really like, which was on the walls, right? Basically, it's creativity is the only way to survive.
Yes.
I think eventually we're going to realize that in our category and balance things a little bit better. What's the only thing that our clients can't do? They can't buy media. They can't build a studio. Can they create properly? No. This is our product.
That's the product.
Our values. And I think we need to attribute more value to that for sure. Yeah.
But and I think sort of with that, when we talk about the product, I find myself often walking this sort of high wire between sort of the art and the science. Yes. And it's like, how do we negotiate that, telling, it's like that data story in an interesting, creative way, when oftentimes, clients are just, it's all about the data, the science for whatever their product is, and they're not necessarily interested in the creative side, and trying to sort of create that argument for the sort of creative narrative can be an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like we're kind of talking about trying to reconcile the business and the creative, or the science and the creative.
Right.
And I do think that is something that seems to be, it seems like it's getting worse in my mind because of technology, and we can do things faster. And because we can do things faster doesn't mean we should. And I think people don't understand what the product is. I really don't think that they get it. And sadly, I think sometimes that it's coming from within the building, right? Like we say clients, but I think a lot of times,
It's a friendly fire.
yeah, exactly. And I feel old. I'm like, kids today, they don't get how it, but I mean, creativity is messy. And, you know, unfortunately, people have seen us do things at high speed. And just because we've done it at high speed doesn't mean we should do it at high speed every time. Yeah. And, you know, you've got to let things sink in and mull it over. And, you know, these 12-hour later deadlines. And
you can't quantify it. That's the thing.
Math, right?
Like,
it's a messy business, and I just don't think people really get that.
It's not a factory line.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
It's not a factory.
Let it be known. It's not a factory. But that's the thing. Like the fundamental problem is that we bill creativity by the hour, which is really bad if you think about it from a financial point of view or from a business point of view, because it's a magical thing that just happens. We cannot control. You can't say you have 5 hours to do the best TV ad. Like, you'll have something. Will it be great? Probably not. But because that becomes quantified, and it's like you only have 16 hours to work on this, and then you've got to move to something else. But that's not finished yet. No, but just move on to this now. The client's only paid for that. That's so fucked up.
Trying to figure out scopes.
Yeah.
It's
the most ridiculous thing. I hate it so much. Apologies to my employer. This is, I think it's a big issue within the industry. I really do.
I'm going to change gears.
Change gears before I get fired.
No. I would think that. Do you think that something, this idea of you don't have time scoped to think? Like, do you think that's more a US based think culture? Because I didn't have that when I was Latin, and when I arrived here was one of my first cultural shocks.
Yes.
When I asked my team, hey, where's the thing? Where's the exciting thing? And they say, don't
Where's
have
the
time.
job
Like, I
number?
don't have time. Where's the job number for me to do the stuff that you're asking for? I said, but this is implicit. This is your job. Your job says creative.
Yeah.
So I would expect you to come with creative stuff.
Yeah.
So give me the job number. I say, what's going on here? And now I understand. I mean,
Welcome to the US. All hail the billable hour.
Do you want to-